Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, which means I love working for you. That's how I earned that nickname. So, what is today's video all about? 100% dedicated towards answering some questions. I decided to schedule a video yesterday because I know there's quite a few comments that I have not gotten to yet, and I figured the easiest thing would be for me to, instead of missing those comments, would be to just go ahead and have a live video where I catch up on all the comments and questions that you all have asked that I unfortunately have not got a chance to get used to. I want to continue to earn my name, Man of the People. Can only do that by being available to you, being accessible to you, which that's what is about. That's what it's all about for today. So we'll stay on here. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday, the day before the Panthers take on the Los Angeles Rams. New interim head coach Steve Wilkes will be at the helm. So definitely got to be hoping that there's going to be some good things ahead with him at the helm. At least hoping that we'll get some stronger play from some of the players that are out there. And do have some news for you. I have some unfortunate news for you. Cornerback J.C. Horn has been changed and updated to being ruled as out. I would assume that means he probably didn't travel out to L.A. I don't know that for sure. That's an assumption right now based on how things typically go, that J.C. Horn will be out versus the Los Angeles Rams. So yesterday we had a pretty big list of players that were on the injured list. I'm just going to bring that up real quick for you. So J.C. Horn, he was questionable. We already have LaVisca out, cornerback Stanley Thomas Oliver out, and then we had cornerbacks C.J. Henderson questionable. We also have Dante Jackson, who's questionable. Good thing is Xavier Woods isn't on that list, so he looks good to go for tomorrow versus the Rams, who have not looked like themselves, right, for the former Super Bowl champions. I forget what their record is. You guys might be laughing at me right now. Chris, how do you not know what their record is? You cover football all the time. Yes, I do, but there's always things that are going on my mind. So let me see if I can quickly figure out what the record of the Rams are. Currently, the Los Angeles Rams are 2-3. 2-3, not too good. All right, so we got some comments that are coming in. Again, this video is just because I have not been able to get to some comments. I don't want you all getting upset, as you should be, if I don't answer your comments, because I always say that I will. And so let's go ahead and get to it. I see some comments coming in here. What's good, Vibe? 10 Tizzy. Appreciate you, 10 Tizzy, signing in. Hey, just a reminder, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, do it. If you haven't done that and you're not sure if you want to, at least hit the like button. YouTubers ask for it because it's so crucial in our growing and other people finding out about our videos, what we do. Put a lot of time into it. So if you don't mind hitting that like button, doesn't cost you anything. I'd appreciate it. All right, so here we go. Chris, be blunt with me. Golden Corral isn't going to be our franchise quarterback with the recent firing of Matt Rhule. I'd rather have Ken Dorsey as our future head coach over giving up draft capital for Sean Payton. All right, Donald Duck. So that question that you have there is one that I appreciate, but it's also one that's filled with a lot of speculation from so many sides, meaning who's our head coach going to be? The way that you're asking this question is speculating that Sean Payton will be our head coach. And there's a lot of things that need to happen for Sean Payton to be our head coach. So it's hard for me to give predictions on things that have multiple layers of if this, then if this, and if this, then what. I don't know if I would rule out. And then with Golden Corral, you call him Golden Corral, with Matt Corral, geez. With Matt Corral, we really had not had a chance to see much other than just how good he looks throwing the football in drills. We didn't really even get a chance to see him in that many preseason games. We did get to see him in a few, but then he got hurt. So it's so difficult to say who our coach is going to be when um, Steve Wilkes hasn't even coached his first game, and it's extremely difficult to say how Matt Corral is going to be when we only saw him in almost 3 games and he got hurt and we didn't see him in any real competitions and get a chance to see such a young player play. So he could well have the potential to be, but I don't know. Look, I always appreciate you. Love your upside down icon of who you are. Appreciate the question very much. What's going on, AJ Lindsay? Hey, Chris, it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. Yeah, Chance, I don't disagree with you on that tomorrow. You tend to feel like we have a chance because their offense hasn't been anything what it used to be. Their defense is still pretty solid. They're obviously not the team that they were last year, at least at this point, with having lost 3 games, only won 2 games. But we have a lot of challenges ourselves. We have a quarterback situation that's been so fluid, not good enough, and that's what you need to win this league. Or you need a heck of a defense, which we've had, and right now our defense is still good, but they're not a heck of an outstanding defense. Excuse me. That's about to travel to the West Coast and then take on the Rams. So it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. I'll report on it. We'll have some fun doing so. I see a lot of information come out about Rhule, and he looked like he was very controlling type of coach based off Joe Person's article. So I have not read Joe Person's article. I can only I really don't know what Joe's article was. Joe does a really good job of writing and has a lot of good sources on things. But in general, it was like, hey, he had a lot of control over things. But we knew that coming in, that he had a lot of control over things. He had a super big contract. And, you try different things out, right? This is what David Tepper thought was good. He spoke to the media earlier this week saying, hey, he's learned a lot, so there'll be some changes. Going to be a little bit more balance in everybody having their role and being able to do their role, general manager, head coach, etc. So hopefully the changes that we're seeing will continue to progress. But, I don't cry over spilled milk. I just go for it a little bit. What's up, David Gore? Appreciate you tuning in. Hey, Chris, has anyone asked Wilkes if the quarterback situation continues, would he reach out to Cam? No, nobody's asked him that yet. But, with those types of questions, you got to first see where you're going with what you have. And one thing that Wilkes is really big on is trying to see what he has within. Looking across his roster, not just guys that are part of the 53-man roster, but continuing to evaluate guys on his practice squad and seeing what they can offer and bring up and do. Now, I will say that he didn't seem too high on Eason as a backup quarterback right now. But, I believe that before he gets into all this juggling around things, because it's so hard for him to even juggle when he doesn't even know his future, how much control will they give him over getting future things when they don't even know if he's going to be the coach next year, right? So that makes it complicated. He still has Sam Darnold. He still has Baker Mayfield. And I'm pretty sure he's wanting to see what tweaks that he can make with being the head coach and given the opportunity to steer the ship a little bit harder. Are you hearing we're going to have a fire sale to get rid of our players, good players? No, Chance, I have not heard that. I mean, technically you've heard everything, but when I say I've heard, meaning source, good information to talk about, I have not at this point. Justin Bryant, what's up, man? If we go 1-5, do you think our skilled players are more of a risk of getting traded? So I think right now that a lot of things I don't feel like we're going to see lots of changes right now. I don't think anything's determined for at least a month, right? So I say you might hear things about where, players getting traded or the future being this or what about this. I really don't think that David Tepper is willing to go start having his mind go in any direction about what the future is going to be until he sees Steve Wilkes playing for some time. Give him 4 games even before he starts to say, yeah. And he might not say it to anybody. I would certainly expect that he's not going to come to the media and say it. But after 4 games, you start to say, all right, now we're halfway through the season. I got 4 games played by this new coach. Maybe I'll continue to now evaluate things based on feeling like I may want to give him a chance. And then that's going to lead you in one direction. Or after 4 games, you may say, man, this is looking pretty bad. And now I'm going to start to evaluate and think about things if I go in this direction. So I understand we certainly want to know what the future is going to be. But with so many changes, it's going to take a little bit of time to see that. Do you know what's going on with Brandon Smith? Yeah, Brandon Smith, that's a good question, E-Roll. That's a pretty good question because I know there are some good optimism on Brandon Smith. And then I think he got hurt, and then you haven't heard much about him recently. I think he certainly should be a guy that will be evaluated a little bit more with Steve Wilkes being at the helm. Give me just a second, everybody. All right, so part of another update for you guys. Earlier I mentioned that J.C. Horn is ruled out for this week against the LA Rams. Also want to add to that, cornerback Stanley Thomas Oliver, he's going to injured reserve. Again, that is cornerback Stanley Thomas Oliver. He's going to injured reserve. That means he's going to be out at least a month before you're going to see him back on the field. So secondary, the defense was a strong point. They have certainly, we've gotten beat up at some key positions. We got beat up at the quarterback so far with Baker, Sam, and Matt Corral. 3 of our 4 quarterbacks all being out. And our defense, secondary was the strong point. Now we've had Jeremy Chin, Xavier Woods, who's looking good, J.C. Horn, backup Stanley Thomas Oliver, great special teams player. So, yeah, tomorrow, definitely looking tough. So just wanted to get that information out there to you. Let's keep going. But in terms of Brandon Smith, I feel like he's a guy that he was doing pretty good. And I feel like with our new head coach, that not necessarily that we're going to see Brandon Smith suddenly out there doing everything, but if he's been deserving of a look, he's definitely going to get that look and that opportunity right now. Let me keep on going through some of these comments. I lost my spot of where I was at. All right, here we go. Catching back up. Hey, Chris, is it just me, but is it normally a head coach who got fired release a statement Thursday, the team website wishing the teams and the fans the best of luck going forward? I'm sorry, I'm going to read this again. Is it just me, but isn't normally a head coach who got fired released a statement through the team website wishing the team and fan base the best of luck? If you're asking, is it normal that the head coach who got fired released a statement? No, it's not. If that's what you're asking. I know Ron Rivera actually had a press conference. That's extremely rare. But he had been here for a while, real loved, well respected, so that was able to happen for him. Justin Bryant, had already answered that one. Tim Tizzy probably agreeing with saying that Brandon Smith wasn't playing because of our previous head coach, Matt Rhule. What's going on, Rodney? Appreciate you tuning in. Tim Tizzy saying very true. And Joe Person article, Rhule went on a vacation on a bye week while Joe Brady was in the building working on the game plan with Cam Newton. Then he fired him from his vacation. Okay. I don't know what the bad thing is about that. I mean, if you're saying a coach should never go on vacation, perhaps. But, the offense wasn't going in a good direction last year, and, Rhule was trying things to get it going. Continue. What's going on, Four More? Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you. Supernova Moore, salute back at you. Appreciate you tuning in. Trying to multitask here. What's up, man? So Coop gonna pop off then. Cup. Yeah, he has the ability to certainly get some big. That means CJ Henderson's gonna be back there, and the potential is there for Cup to have a really good game. Absolutely, with everything being out. We just call him STO Vibe. I know that people do, but I'm an old school kind of guy. And people with nicknames, I don't, if your mama called you Stanley Thomas Oliver, then that's what I like to do. But I know STO is what they call him. Hoping to see JC versus a great wide receiver like Cup to see how he stands. So, yeah, we're not going to see JC. He has been ruled 100% out for this week versus the Los Angeles Rams. Do we foresee a shakeup in the front office, or do you think it will be at coaching levels only? I don't foresee, and I hope you all don't hate me for this. I don't mind doing predictions and talking about what I foresee and what I think may happen, but sometimes things are so premature. I can't get any good feel for what's going to happen. So I feel like right now that our owner David Tepper has in his mind, I would at least, just from a business and process driven perspective, which I've heard David Tepper talk about processes. And you would understand the millionaire guy having processes in which he does things to say, before I start to think, and he himself in that press conference, when he first talked about the firing of Matt Rhule, the hiring of Steve Wilkes, and was asked a lot of questions about the future, he talked about things being premature. And I don't feel like he's not thinking about those things, about what his future may be, but I'm pretty sure he has like many things on the table, and you just want to see something start to happen which says, okay, now these 5 things that I was going to do, they're down to 3, now they're down to 2. So Percy, I can better address that question once we get maybe 4 games into Steve Wilkes as head coach. I'm certainly a person that personally is cheering for Steve Wilkes, but I'll be objective and a professional reporter and telling you what I think will happen as a little bit of time goes by. Michael Ayers, love your work, love your show, appreciate your work. Thank you very, very much. So we do have some things coming that I believe that you all will be excited about. I'm very excited about, and that will be more players, more coaches. Can't say coaches, I'm sorry, more players, other media people joining me on my show on Monday where I say, ask me your Carolina Panther questions. So me having players on the show was something that people loved. I started doing that a lot years ago. COVID took place and I got away from it, but look for players to start coming back on the show a lot more. Not this week, potentially, but just look for it before the end of the month for sure. Hopefully you all will like that and subscribe and tell a friend, right? David Gore, we need to run the ball. Certainly we need to run the ball. Christian McCaffrey, Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, all those guys, whether it's Christian McCaffrey 95% or whatever that number could work out to be, us running the ball more is certainly needed. Christian McCaffrey running the ball more is needed. I really hope, it's going to be a tough game tomorrow with so many people being out on the defense, but maybe we can luck out and get in a shootout. Maybe PJ Walker could feel the juice, love being out in LA, the sunshine, and Ben McAdoo got some good direction from Steve Wilkes, and the defenses on both sides don't play good, and we have ourselves a 28-21 kind of game going to the fourth, and we see what happens. But running the ball is definitely needed. Using Christian McCaffrey to do so is needed. Chance says we think we need to use a two-back formation, play a little smash mouth football. QB option plays. What you think? I think certainly that could be on the table. Steve Wilkes getting back there, being creative, but I mean, we can't do too much of it this week. Too much change. There's going to be a lot of things that kind of stay the same and just tweak here, tweak there, and also have some players with some renewed confidence, some renewed juice with their new head coach. No telling what we'll see. I know they were really creative in the beginning this season. Wouldn't say that that's not going to continue a little bit. What's up, Allie? Appreciate you tuning in. Man, you ever come home to New England, we got to have a beer or something. Hey, I don't drink. I love fruity drinks. So you can have a beer. I'll have an Arnold Palmer or some other pomegranate something type drink. We had the chance to go to New England. They played New England in the preseason. I didn't go up to that game, but hey, wherever you are, to everybody out there, if there's a chance to meet you, I'm all for it. Would love to do so. Do you think Steve can make a difference? Heck yeah, I think Steve can make a difference. I mean, this guy is, a player's coach. He connects with his players. I would say he's going to be able to get a great deal out of his players. He's been a head coach before. Not to say that's automatically some success, but just like Rhule had some things that he learned. Unfortunately, Wilkes was only a head coach out in Arizona for 1 year. And I guarantee he made some notes and learned some things from that. And so we're going to get a chance to see him grow from that experience. So, yeah, I believe it. I believe it 100%. We'll get Cam back this year if quarterbacks don't go well. You guys had to give me a very convincing argument for Cam Newton coming back. I always like to say when I have sources, when I don't have sources. I don't have sources on this. I'm just looking at it from Cam said he wants to be able to compete. You come back to Carolina, other than competing for the starting position, you don't really know what you're getting right now with this Carolina Panthers team. So if you don't know what you're getting in at this point in his career, why would you just want to keep coming back to Carolina? Like, I really don't even feel like that'd be good for his career. Like, hey, Cam Newton, you're like this great quarterback, but you could only Carolina Panthers would only accept you. When you got released by New England, only Carolina would bring you back. When Carolina released you, only Carolina, like, yeah, I don't see that. I don't see it. Why do people in the chat want to wash down Newton and Dreamland? Yeah, Cam Newton, he's certainly past his prime. He's certainly past his prime. The Night Man, a shootout. I don't know about all that. Yeah, I don't know, but I just said maybe. I mean, maybe because both defenses are looking not the best. I'm sorry. Okay, you're right. That's backwards. I was thinking both defenses are weak, but no, the Rams' offense has been weak. Our defense looks like it may be shattered, a little weak. But now we've got a weakened defense and we have a very weak offense. Appreciate you, the Night Man, for coming on and say that. It's still wishful thinking, right? Still wishful thinking. Why Steve want to start quarterback Baker if Sam is available? So Sam isn't available right now. He's not an option. Sam Darnold hasn't even hasn't been cleared, hasn't practiced. He's not a resource that's available right now. So right now, the only thing that you can really have is PJ and Baker that you're considering. And between the two, he'd rather have Baker out there. Right now, Baker's not available, so PJ's going to start. And he still wants Baker, if he's cleared enough, to be his backup quarterback on the bench over Eason being his backup quarterback. So that's where we are right now, Kenny P, on the quarterback situation. Oh, not New England, Northeast? Oh, okay. All right, Tizzy, where in the Northeast? We played New York. I was up in New York. What other games do we have in the Northeast? We got Baltimore coming up, November 20th. So that's the other best chance to be in the Northeast is to that Baltimore game. Yeah, I am from the tri-state area. That is true. That is true. Let's see. The only reason Cam comes back is to sell tickets. Yeah, and the Nightman, that would be for David Tepper's benefit, and I don't see Cam being eager to help David Tepper out. I mean, why? David Gore says no Cam, and Cam wouldn't want to do that. I don't think Cam would want to do that either. Super Trebo, hey, how's it going? What do you think Carolina's possible future quarterback situation is? If they have a top 3 to 5 pick, do you think they go for a young quarterback in the draft? You think we might have to go into rebuilding? So, appreciate you, Super Trebo. I'm stuck on not being able to speculate about the future until we see a few more games with Steve Wilkes and start to get an idea if owner David Tepper will be going with Steve Wilkes, or will he be going with a new head coach and clearing out. Like, once something like that happens, I can talk about what I think. If you were to ask me what I want to have happen with the quarterback situation, so we do have Matt Corral, that we don't know what we're going to get out of him. I would say this, regardless of who's our head coach, we need to improve that quarterback position. And the big question mark that gets so difficult, man, is you're hoping that Matt Corral could be that guy. You got him high relatively. But now this whole season, you're not going to get a chance to evaluate him to see if, he may be able to start trending towards that direction of being your quarterback. And then you have the draft. So I don't know a lot about the college quarterbacks that are coming out. So I do say we still just have to address the quarterback situation. 1 second, multitasking here. All right. Aaron Patton, appreciate you tuning in. Let's say hypothetically Wilkes doesn't work out. Who would you prefer to be our next head coach? Aaron, I'm sorry. I got to be honest. Man, the people has to be honest. I do not have a head coach list that I've gathered to say who I would like to see at this point yet. I'm sorry. Maybe as we get further along I will, but right now I just have to be honest. I don't have a list for that yet. PJ might surprise us, Supernova says. Yeah, PJ, I will say this about PJ Walker. He plays 100% better when he's the starting quarterback than he plays when he's the backup quarterback and has to come in to the game. So I don't think the game from a quarterback position tomorrow is going to be awful. I know he's going to make a mistake and it's going to make, oh man, PJ Walker. But when he's a starting quarterback, he plays so much better. He'll make that mistake, but then he has a chance to calm down, get it back together, and play some decent ball. So my thing is, as long as PJ isn't like holding on to the ball too long, trying to do stuff with his feet, and when he does hold on to the ball, tries to heave it downfield, scramble, use your legs. He is athletic. But if you get in trouble, get out the pocket, throw it away, make sure it's not going to be a grounding call, and I think you can live for another play and continue to do something good for this team. Rodney W., I'm gonna, before you even get to reading all your comments, hey, you're entitled to your opinion, man. I'm never gonna bash you on this channel if you disagree with me. I will listen to you. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it for what it is. I feel like Cam still has something left. It's the situations that have been unfortunate. Give him the training camp and some weapons with a stable line, and he'll flourish. So for me, Cam Newton was so good because of his physicality, and he's lost some of that physicality. He's never been really accurate. That really showed when he was here last year. So unless Cam just becomes really cerebral with the game, then yeah, he might can contribute, spotting here and there. But I don't feel like Cam is helpful to us at this point in his career with where I feel like his deficiencies are. This is PJ first start, so everybody give him a chance, says David Gore. All right. Not saying he should come back to Carolina, but for any team, coming back at the moment would not be beneficial for him because he still has to learn the playbook. Hey, Rodney, you saying that he could start for any team or a team out there? I get what you're saying now a little bit more. One second here, guys. Michael Grizzett. Hopefully I said that correctly. We have to do better at offense. Our defense is good after all, but I think we will get a Sean Payton as the head coach position. Okay. Michael, you do know for Sean Payton to become our head coach that currently the New Orleans Saints hold his rights, and we have to negotiate with the Saints to take their head coach in the same conference, the same division as they're in, and beat them. Man, I forget who the owners of the Saints are, but you'd have to pay me a whole lot because, yeah, if you become successful, then I'm like, okay, well, this guy, I let this guy go somewhere else and beat me when I had the ability to not let him do that. Why do we keep playing CJ Henderson? Hey. Yeah, CJ Henderson has not been at his best. He had a little, before the season started, some sprinkles. He hasn't been at his best. We'll see what happens this Sunday against the Rams. And, I'm not against giving a guy a chance, but if he gets out there and he's not doing too well, get him out of there. Aaron Patton, you good, Chris? I genuinely appreciate your honesty and authenticity. Yes, I'm going to be honest. Appreciate you. Are you going to Atlanta for that game? Yes, Dog. I will be in Atlanta for that game, cheering on the Carolina Panthers. Appreciate it. What's going on, Pat Coltrane? Just checking in. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, Pat. Pat gave me some information this week, which is going to improve some things that we are doing over here at Charlotte Vibe. You guys will see it. You will notice right away what changes that I'm talking about. But Pat Coltrane, always great to see you checking in and to watch the shows. I know Pat made a few appearances recently talking about the Panthers. So if you know Pat, you know Pat. If you don't, just Google Pat Coltrane YouTube, and hilarious, entertaining, knowledgeable guy. Some people are seeing Pat and giving him some shout outs, which he deserves. Pretty good guy talking about the Panthers. Sean Payton isn't coming here. Aaron Patton agreeing with Michael. I really want Payton as well, but that's going to require a haul from us. Heck yeah. Supernova doesn't think that Sean Payton's coming here. Kenny P is saying no way. Jamal Fikes, I really don't want Sean Payton. Brock Morgan. Brock, I think you're new here. So if that is the case, or if this is your first time comment, appreciate the first time comment. Appreciate you checking out the channel. Hope that we'll find you back here more often in the future. Do you think we move on from CMC or DJ? So this one, Peter Angelis. I'm not good with name pronunciation, so if I get it wrong, I apologize. And again, I'm multitasking here. As you see, I'm at the office on a Sunday. I said a Sunday. It's a Saturday. Your boy works a lot. But for me, personally, I feel like Christian McCaffrey is a piece is the number one piece of a blockbuster deal that we should consider using. Because my opinion with Christian McCaffrey is there's no question on his talent, exceptional talent. For me, there's no question that he is susceptible to some injuries. We don't know how much longer that he has. He could end up being great for the next 5 years, or he could only have one more year, right? At this point, I say, just from a business perspective, with him being at that unknown spot, and you have so much that you may need to do to get your organization correct, then yeah, man, while you have this golden nugget, while you have this treasure piece, this ace, Christian McCaffrey, go ahead and move him right now before you get into the part of like he's not where he was and now you're not going to get as much for him. So it's not a reflection on do I want Christian McCaffrey here. It's just a reflection on getting this team in a better position. I feel like you can get some other assets to make up. When I say make up, not replace, but make up as in have something solid and capable back there while you get another piece such as your quarterback, something much more influential over the overall part of the game. And Chris McCaffrey is so good that he's almost like at a quarterback level, but we're past that prime for him where you can count on that to happen every single Sunday. And I think it's serious consideration on moving on from that while it's still so valuable. Chris, let me buy you a beer. I live in Atlanta. I don't drink beer, you guys. But when I come to Atlanta, it's probably going to be getting there Saturday night, leaving right after the game. A lot of prep work that goes into the shows that we do, pregame and postgame. So I'll see for sure. CJ just needs to turn his head around, says David Gore. Would you be happy with Sean Payton as a head coach? Ask almost all things gaming. Nah, I wouldn't be. I wanted to be somewhere. Pat is the man. Rob Morgan giving out shouts to Pat Coltrane. Pat showing his appreciation for the love that you guys are showing him out there. Chris, you know it, bro. I just don't think we will get much for Christian McCaffrey, says Jamal Fikes. So here's the thing, though. You will get a lot from Christian right now. Like, diminishing returns. So the longer we keep Christian, the less we could get for him. Unless he, just even if he has a good rest of the season with us, unless he goes spectacular. And then, of course, what happens to other teams also dictate that. It's been talked Buffalo Bills could be a good place to have Christian McCaffrey. Kansas City Chiefs, hey, maybe he's a good place to take them. So, if some team gets in a we must win now, you never know. But I still feel like the time this season, like this immediate time, is the best time to move Christian McCaffrey. If you do it after this season, then yeah, I don't think you're going to get what you could in a situation that would help you rebuild your franchise and have this thing turned around. Almost all things gaming says, I'd give up the house for Sean Payton. He has won a Super Bowl and made the playoffs many times. All these young kids don't know what a winning team looks like. Yeah, he could, but would you rather have Sean Payton, or would you rather sell out for Sean Payton or sell out for a quarterback? I'd rather sell out for a quarterback. Because truth be known, players will have coaches get rid of things before you get a coach that's just so great like a Bill Belichick where it doesn't matter. He's just going to make you great. C-Dog not thinking that the Saints will trade Sean Payton within the division. Hey, let's be nice with the language. C-Mac is the key. Now is the time. Brock Morgan. Chris, buy you some food. All right. We'll have to figure something out as I travel to be able to hang out with some people, because I do love your support. You all are what make me. So let's do that. C-Dog on every. What's up, Locks, man? PJ's not it. I think we have a diamond in the rough with Blackshear. What you think? Blackshear did really, really good, man, at returning kicks last week. We haven't seen him much at running back. But that's my point on the running back position. If you get rid of Christian McCaffrey, is that not that running backs are a dime a dozen, but you could flip some things around, continue to get guys in, and likely have an adequate running back situation. Adequate. And maybe even like with a Blackshear, you get some guy that is surprisingly good. And you need that. And then you could use that the asset in Christian McCaffrey to get something big, something prime time. What do you think we could get for Shaq? Shaq is having like an average year right now, so I don't feel like we could get a whole lot for him one time. If we win, we got to run the ball 40 times, says Locks Main. YPX 918, showing off what you got there in Acura. But give me just 1 second here. If CMC gets traded, who would be our next running back? I don't think we have a true RB1 once C-Mac gets traded. Chuba's not the answer. Yeah, so if Christian McCaffrey gets traded, it's just, I mean, we have guys on the team right now that could potentially fill that void if Christian McCaffrey was to be gone. Again, it's not a void fill as in completely replace Christian McCaffrey, but just be adequate. You got Chuba, you got Deontay, and then you got Blackshear that we picked up. You got Laviska Shenault, who's been hurt a lot. So if you're in a trade situation where you're getting no running back in return, you still got those 4 guys that you can mix in there for some potential effectiveness. And then if you get a quarterback that starts playing decent, you're okay. You're manageable. We need a power back, says David Gore. Jamie Rivas. I don't believe I've seen you on here before, Jamie. What's up to you? Just speculating here, but thoughts on getting rid of Shaq, bringing Chin back to linebacker, and then maybe bringing back Trey Boston. My channel subscribers love to speculate in many layers. I forget, it was this movie a while back where they were dreaming and they would have levels to the dreams. I hated that movie. It was so hard to keep track of, but I appreciate your question, Jamie. Levels to your speculation, which makes it hard for me to go down that rabbit hole completely with you. Getting rid of Shaq, bringing Chin back to linebacker, and then maybe Jamie, that's too many layers for me, man. I'm sorry, I got to tap out on that one. Too many layers. Next head coach will be Ken Dorsey, says Matt. Knows nothing. Hey, Aaron Pat says, love the shirt. Thank you for witnessing. We as a fan base really need that, and not just talking it, but walking it too. All right, so the shirt says, God is from Carolina. Appreciate you liking the shirt. Yes, I am a man of faith. I try to leave sports coverage into just sports coverage, but I appreciate those comments very strongly. Very strongly. Thank you, Aaron Patton, for those comments. Do you think it's better to have Christian McCaffrey and DJ Burns or more draft picks for a head coach coming in if we don't keep Wilkes? Let's see. I mean, if you get in a new head coach, then I think it's best to give that head coach the opportunity to succeed in how he wants to have a franchise. So if that head coach believes that he wants some young guys for whatever reason, that his style and his philosophy matches, then yeah, I believe that you should give him the flexibility to create what he needs to do, what he can do. So hopefully that answers your question, Jamal. So appreciate the question. Blackthorn. Hey, I'm appreciating all these comments coming in here. Hey, but don't get too comfortable with these Saturday sessions, all right? This is just a bonus because I haven't been able to answer a lot of comments, which is what I do. So here we are this Saturday answering some questions. We only got about 15 minutes left, and hopefully I'll be able to get through everybody's. We may lose a lot, but at least we have cooler uniforms than anyone else. Keep pounding. Appreciate it. C-Dog saying Foreman is a power running back. Lewis Taylor disagreeing. Foreman is a power back. Panthers have to share the load. Chris, you're truly a man of the people. Appreciate it, Brock Morgan. I'm trying. Dream movie. Yes! Inception. Matt knows nothing, but he knows movies. Inception was a movie. Man, it came out so long. I remember I was in Texas at the time that movie came out. And it was just like, I go to watch the movies for entertainment, relax, and get away. And that movie, Inception, I'm just curious. If you watched the movie Inception, was it too deep or did you like it? For me, for your boy, it was just too deep. Chris, where will you be when you get to Atlanta? I don't know yet. Steve Wilkes will succeed. You know what? I'm gonna show you one reason that I like Steve Wilkes. I'm just gonna give you a quick little preview. Let me see if I can very quickly get to something right quick. Oh, well, never mind. It's part of the graphic. But Steve Wilkes gave me an interview during the training camp down in Spartanburg. So I always appreciate that. Not everybody has to talk to me. Not everybody wants to talk to me. I respect that. Not saying that you are obligated to talk to me, but he did an interview, and I appreciate it. And it was personable. Had some conversation afterwards. So, yeah, I'm cheering for him. Where were we on the comments? TD was switched to linebacker. Now, how many leg injuries? Right chin is a safety, says Lewis Taylor. Yeah, Thomas Davis, man, that guy is definitely a 1 in a million kind of guy, going through all those injuries and continue to get an opportunity to play. That was talking about blessings, and that was tremendous for him. I don't think something like that could ever happen again with the player, just because people be ready to move on. TD played linebacker, strong safety in college. Chin did not. Yes, that is correct. Brock Morgan, what do we have in Matt Corral? I really like his spunk. So, Brock, I touched on that earlier, Matt Corral, and that he's such a big question mark because we haven't got a chance to see him. And it's so unfortunate. I mean, it's always unfortunate anytime players are getting hurt. And it makes the evaluation process for Matt Corral so difficult because you drafted him with not saying the guarantee that he was going to be the future, but someone that you felt like deserved a pretty good look at being the franchise quarterback for the future. His mechanics looked good. His willingness to learn looked good. There were things that were looking good, but now this whole season, you're not going to be able to evaluate him as a talent to know come the end of the season what you have in this guy. So knowing if Matt Corral has the potential to be a franchise quarterback, that gets wiped away. That's an unknown at the end of the season. Right now, you don't know who your head coach is going to be. That's hard to pick your direction. You don't know who your if you don't know who your head coach is going to be, you don't know who your general manager is going to be. You don't know what all turnovers you're going to get through your coaching staff or through your players. So it's hard. C-Dog did not like Inception. All right, so one person's on my side there. Had a real question for Resurrect. Do you think Mayfield is the problem, or is the offensive scheme? Do you think he would be better in shotgun? Yeah, Baker Mayfield is a problem. You could change schemes around, but the inaccuracy that Baker Mayfield has, and he has problems in a lot of different areas. You know, he had that first game, which was a nightmare, where he was dropping the snaps and getting balls batted down. And then he continues to have balls batted down. And then he continues to not be the most accurate. And then he continues to throw a whole lot of short passes. He's not throwing any deep balls. So Baker Mayfield is certainly our issue right now. He's not the only issue, but the quarterback is, again, the biggest influencing position to success on your team. And we don't have a good one right now. So it's a challenge. Appreciate the question, Resurrect. Our success this season is ground and pound, ball control, and solid defensive play. Blackthorn, not a bad one. Inception was great, so we're 1-1 right now, and talking about the movie Inception. And Donald Duck, can you ask Tepper? Man, I don't get the chance to talk to David Tepper. I've only seen him. Yeah, he's not around that much. But I'll read your question. Can you ask David Tepper if he might have an interest for a Major League Baseball team? That's the only major sport we need. Charlotte Knights don't count for the Carolinas. Why don't we use Foreman often? We don't use any other back other than Christian McCaffrey often. So Chuba Hubbard, Spearman. I mean, oh man, I can't say the guy's name right. Let me get it correct before I continue to mess up this guy's name. Blackshear, is it? My computer's now all over the place. So yeah, we don't use any other running back often at all. Super Trebo says, I could see Ken Dorsey being our next coach. We have seen player and coaching relationship with Buffalo, McDermott, and now I can see Ken coming to the Panthers. Yeah, okay. Appreciate it, Trebo. Rodney loved Inception. So we got 2 people liking Inception, 1 people not liking. I got it. Baker had all the weapons since college, says Lewis Taylor. Enough said. Good old Baker Mayfield. All right, so we'll see if another comment comes through here. So right now, yeah, we play the Los Angeles Rams. Here's what the world thinks about our chances to win tomorrow. NFL.com, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, SB Nation, Sport News, USA Today, Bleacher Report, CBS Sports. Nobody thinks that the Carolina Panthers will win tomorrow out in LA. Last few comments here. What do you think of Luvu, says Blackthorn. Yeah, Luvu has been such a great story, such a good kind of come out of nowhere and be exceptional guy, flying around, being an emotional, strong leader on his team with his play, being aggressive. So I love Frankie Luvu. And, in his absence, Damian Wilson last week had a great game as well. So, we were all thinking that last week would be a disaster from start to finish. Now, I'm not going to say that it did not end up being a disaster, but through that first half, it was like, oh, well, this I think our defense is great. That we had a lot of guys out last week, and we didn't come out and just get punched in the mouth. Now, eventually it happened, but it took some time. So I like this defense. I like Luvu. I like Wilson. So, hey, that'll be it for today. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. I had to do this show because I had not gotten to a lot of comments, and I love to get to the comments. I honestly may have to change my promises, and I'm going to get to every comment because there's so many, and just say, hey, these live shows are dedicated to getting to those comments within so much time. But I appreciate you guys. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe. We'll have our pregame show tomorrow. Set your subscriptions, set your notifications so you can know when I go live for that. It's nice talking with y'all. Enjoy the Saturday.